Hey guys, this is Jason with Vandemic. So on a lot of the groups I see people asking, what kind of van should I get? So 3 major vans that are available. There's actually 4 if you consider Nissan. I don't consider them to be a major van. People do use them, but it's not as widely used for upfits. So Promaster seems to be one of the most popular. Then we have Ford Transit, and then obviously Mercedes Sprinter is very popular as well. So this is a Promaster 159. We actually have 2 of them in the shop. They look very similar, back to back right now that we're working on. So Promaster 159, this is kind of like the middle of the line as far as the length. So we have a 159 extended, which we had just completed one, which gives you a tremendous amount of space. But it's a little longer, a little bit harder to fit into like parking spots and things like that. This one's really nice. It fits into a parking spot pretty well. They also have a 136, which is a little bit smaller, which is, if you followed us before, Antoinette Yvonne. If you haven't seen her van, follow her, Antoinette Yvonne, on YouTube. She has a great channel. We did her van, it's a 136, which is a little bit smaller. So you have those 3 difference. They also have a 118, which is really small. I probably wouldn't recommend building out on that if you wanted to have some nice functionality as far as like a bathroom and stuff like that. So why would you want to go with the Promaster? There's like really 3 reasons, in my opinion, to go with a Promaster. The biggest reason for most people is probably cost. Okay, so your initial cost is going to be a little bit lower than a comparable Transit, and it's going to be maybe about $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 cheaper than a 2x4 Sprinter. Okay. The other advantage besides cost of your initial purchase is the ability to sleep side to side. So you can put a full-size mattress without putting flares in, which is a really nice feature. So that would be another reason that a lot of people like to use these if you're doing a platform bed or you're doing a dinette, is that you can actually get a full-size bed in the back area, which is really nice. You still have to kind of expand out where you do your installation so that you can not use as much wall space and be able to fit the mattress in, but you can fit it in. The third reason is for ease of maintenance. And let me tell you, you might need to get access to a dealer. So Dodge dealers everywhere, which is really great. So if you do need to run into a problem, say with your transmission at 13,000 miles, like 2 of our customers, then you can just kind of limp over to a Dodge dealer and have them fix it up. So that brings up, what's the downside? This is a Ducato, okay? So this is not a typical Dodge van from the 1990s where Dodge made the vans, okay? My mom had a Dodge cargo van. It's way different than this, okay? This is a European van. Because of that, I feel like it's not as strong. In America, we're real strong about engines. Dodge has always been a little sketchy on transmissions over the years, but this van isn't as mechanically strong. So I've had quite a few people have problems with transmissions. If you watch on the groups, as well as personally, our customers, we had Antoinette Yvonne as an example, left here, she has 13,000 miles on it, but before she gets to 14,000 miles, her transmission module goes. She has to wait 2 weeks to get one. That's, in my opinion, totally unacceptable. Like, you have a van that's a year old, has 13,000 miles, and the transmission module goes, and that is pretty, relatively not bad. I've seen people where their entire transmission is gone in less than 30,000 miles. I think Dodge has a problem there, and I think they need to figure that out. So that's not a really good way to start off van life. Remember, at the end of the day, you're investing whatever amount of time. If you're building it yourself, or if you're paying somebody like Vandemic to do the outfit, there's a lot of money going into that van. In my opinion, I would rather put that into a platform that I know is going to be reliable. The other thing, and I can actually show you, every used Dodge van that we've got in here has this problem. I'll show you. Now, this is a customer van. It's hard to see that now because it's been in the shop for a while, but this van gets, in this housing here, moisture. Every single used van that's come into our shop, as low as 10,000 miles, has had water in particular, the left driver's side one here. So Antoinette's was here. This one also gets water in it as well. There is a design flaw in this van that's allowing that water to get in here. Again, in my opinion, you have a new van, has 10,000 miles, you shouldn't have moisture in there. That's kind of ridiculous, okay? That's the type of build quality issues that we have and we've seen with these Dodges. I think they're a little bit of a dog. They're not super strong in the engine, but they can be comfortable. They ride like crap when there's nothing in them, as most cargo vans would, because they're intended to have a load. We have noticed in our builds, especially with our wall system and our floor system, fully loaded, the vans actually drive very nicely. The other thing I don't like about these vans is that they drive the driver's seat's very high. So if you're really tall, you can't put a swivel seat on this driver's seat if you're tall, or you won't be able to see out the window. Without a swivel seat, I can barely see out the window. I'm 6 foot tall. I'm looking out this part of the window at the very top. You're shorter, not a big deal. Let's talk about that seat as well. Uncomfortable to drive long distances, okay? I've had to drive these vans 2 or 3 hours. I get out, I feel like somebody beat me up, okay? I drive the Sprinter for 3 hours, I get out, I jump out, and I'm like, I'm ready to go, okay? Not a super comfortable seat. Now they do have 2 different seat options. This one actually has an upgraded seat in it, which is a lot more comfortable than the standard cloth seat, but still not wonderful. The driving position is very odd. It's very high. Feels like you're on the glass, like you're driving a bus. So that's another thing that I'm not a huge fan of. But again, are you willing to sacrifice that to save a few $1,000s? A lot of people are. They don't want to put flares on. They don't want to spend $3,000 on that. It's a good option to look at. What I always tell people is drive all 3 vans, okay? Regardless of budget, drive all 3 vans, and then you'll know which one you like the most. I drove a bunch of trucks before I bought my truck. I didn't buy the truck I liked the most because it was too expensive, okay? I bought the second one. And I was like, hey, I bought this Dodge truck, 1500 Ram. It's a great truck, but I also really like that Ford F-150 Raptor. That was my favorite. But I'm not gonna drop $95,000 on a truck. It's just not gonna happen. I love it, but it's just not gonna happen. Well, that might be what you think about the Mercedes. You're like, man, I really love the Mercedes, but I don't wanna drop, $67,000 on a 4-wheel drive version. Okay, cool. Look at the Ford Transits. My opinion, Ford Transit drives much better than this. You still have the ability to have 4 dealers everywhere, relatively inexpensive to work on. Bonus. The only downside to the Transit is, again, your ability to sleep side to side. You could go ahead and put flares on it, and you can sleep side to side, or if you're under 73 inches, you can still sleep side to side. It's a really nice van. I really like that. It drives really well. The driving position, it feels like you're driving a minivan. I like that van a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is I feel like the roof gauge is super thin. I'm like 165 pounds, I'm not really big, but when I'm on top of that van and I'm cutting vents, I can just hear the metal buckling and popping, and hopefully not putting dents in it because it is thinner. It's about the only thing I didn't like about that van, but it drives really nice. So if you're looking at a van, thinking about the ProMaster, go drive the ProMaster, at least drive the Transit. Just a couple $1,000s more. Well worth it in my opinion, to have just a better build quality, more comfortable to drive, and then all the other advantages that you have in the Dodge as far as being able to get it serviced, and the cost of service is going to be much less than a Mercedes. That's definitely the downside. If budget is not of a concern, like you want Mega Millions, Mercedes all day long, I wouldn't even think about these, okay? But if budget is concerned, definitely look at the ProMaster, look at the Transit, go side by side, figure out which one you like more. Every customer I've told them to go drive both, they bought a Transit. So that, I think, pretty much says it all. Now, do we build a lot of these ProMasters? Hell yeah, we build a lot of them. They're awesome to build on. We have some really cool systems that make it a little bit easier. We have a wall system that straightens the walls, a ceiling system that straightens the ceilings. I do like to have the extra room in the back if I'm building a dinette or I'm putting a platform bed. They're great vans, but just know what you're getting into. It's just like anything, you're gonna buy a house, you're gonna look at school districts. So just understand all the different advantages and disadvantages before you go forward. Best of luck, and if you need anything, follow us on Facebook. You go to our website, vandemic.com. Facebook is at Catch Us If You Van. Instagram is at Vandemic Vans. At Vandemic Vans on YouTube. Subscribe. Take care.